and welcome to a Cryptid Paranormal Committee podcast. I'm your host, Charlie.
And I'm your host, Colton. I'm back.
Unfortunately, he's back.
Yeah.
Today, we're going to go ahead and be talking about one of the most well-known cryptids in cryptozoology.
Drum roll.
We didn't need that. Bigfoot.
Ah, yes. The man, the myth. The legend.
He's more
myth than man.
No, I disagree with you on that one. I don't think he's a myth at all.
Well, that's what we're going to be talking about today in today's podcast. So, Charlie, tell me what you know about Bigfoot.
It depends what type of Bigfoot you're referring to. Are you referring to the physical Bigfoot, the ethereal Bigfoot, or the spiritual Bigfoot?
Physical Bigfoot.
Okay.
That's the one I'm most versed in.
Okay, so there are a total of 10 types of Bigfoot that are found here in the United States. Off the top of my head, I can name a couple. So we got the Patty type. The Patty type is known for being featured on the Patterson-Gimlin film from 1950 something.
The classic one.
The classic Bigfoot where he just like turns around. Sorry, where she turns around and looks at the camera. What?
I didn't know it was a female.
Yeah. Further studies into a video prove that it has women anatomy. Basically, yeah. So that's one type. That type of Bigfoot is known to be rather docile, so they're not really aggressive, you know.
They're the cool Uncle Bigfoot.
I wouldn't call them the cool Uncle Bigfoot, but yeah, sure. Next, we have the Neanderthal type of Bigfoot, which is more man than Bigfoot, and of course, reports of these Bigfoots vary within the United States, but they're basically just a relic hominid that are still around to this day. And then we have the Gugwe, which is very the cryptid is basically it's a mix between a dogman and a Bigfoot. Because it has like a baboon type face, so you have a protruding snout.
Yeah.
But it has the body of a Bigfoot.
I will have to say, I think that's one of the best names of Gugwe. It's very fun to say, and it's like
Gugwe.
It's got power behind it. It's like, careful in the woods, they're Gugwe, but I was like, oh shit, what the fuck is that?
Fun fact, Gugwes are known as face eaters, so
I mean
that's even better.
That's even better. To be honest, I would much rather fight a Bigfoot than a Gugwe.
Yeah, unless we're talking about the what are we? Does you really have to do that?
I'm sorry, it was an accident. They just pop on their own.
Okay, sure, Mr. Reptilian.
Don't blow my cover yet.
Sorry. And then we have the Janaswa. Stone giants. Now, fun little thing about these Bigfoot. They've been known, much like the Gugwe, the face eaters, to actually prey on humans. And there are reports from Native American tribes. Not making that mistake twice. Native American tribes of these creatures coming down and stealing the women and children, and eating and killing them. Fun fact, so basically before they would raid the tribes, they would roll themselves in mud, and then they'd go to like a rocky part of the area, and they'd roll around in the rocks, so the rocks would be stuck to the mud, and then they'd wait for the mud to harden, so basically they'd have like armor, so but arrows and whatever the Indians had wouldn't go through the rocks and the mud.
That's pretty cool if it wasn't, totally horrifying.
Yeah, no, if you have like an 8 to 9 foot thing that like seed humans
covered in rocks and mud.
Yeah, no, that'd be scary. And then we have the But Florida skunk ape, which I think might be its own species, I don't think it's that very much closely related to a Bigfoot. Because if we look at the Palmetto, I think it was the Palmetto. No, it's a classic skunk ape photo where you see it right next to a palm tree. It doesn't look like a Bigfoot would look.
I heard it's more like a chimpanzee than like a classic Bigfoot.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe a mix between an orangutan and a chimpanzee.
I love orangutans, dude.
I personally don't like apes.
Wow.
Even though I have a fascination with Bigfoot, I don't like apes at all.
I prefer apes over monkeys, but I dislike chimpanzees very much.
Yeah, no, it's they're kind of weird.
Bonobos are better, alright? I'm just saying. If I had to pick, I'd much rather have a bonobo than a chimp.
Now, so those are the basic types that I can think of. I mean, in North America, that is not.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's actually another type of Bigfoot that I'm totally missing. Fun fact: you're not gonna like the name because it's very, very similar to a name that you hate.
Oh, fun.
The only difference between the two names is that instead of an E, it's an I, and that's what Wendigo.
Oh.
It is it's a type of Bigfoot that's native to Canada, and it's very aggressive. That's why it shares the name with the other creature.
The classic one.
Yeah.
That's very interesting that, Canada is very known for being peaceful. Except for the wildlife, they're extremely dangerous. You got moose, you got angry big feet up there. What's the plural of Bigfoot? Bigfoots? Big feets? Big 5-0 fun?
I don't think that they have a. I honestly don't know. When people talk about a group of Bigfoot, they usually call them like a family of Bigfoot or a clan of Bigfoot. I don't think I've ever heard like Bigfoots or Big Feets. It's always been like a family type, thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think we should come up with a good name for them. Because like a pod of whales, a murder of crows, to be like a feet of Big Feet. I don't know. A shoe of Bigfoot. That's what we call a group of Bigfoot. We call them a shoe.
How about no, Colton?
Well, you guys decide.
Or if there's an actual term that I'm not familiar with, please let us know.
Oh yeah, let us know.
Yeah.
I like shoe though. I think that's a good name.
I don't think shoe's a good name.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
All right. Well.
Okay. So, what do you want to know?
What do you think is the most plausible explanation for Bigfoot in North America? Because it's like people say he's like the missing link, or he's like some primate relative. What do you think?
Personally, I think that again, this is when I have to bring up what type of Bigfoot we're talking about. Are we talking about the flesh and blood one, but interdimensional one, or the spiritual one?
Let's just stay with the physical one for now.
Okay, physical one. See, it also depends on the type, because the differences in qualities between the whole Bigfoot species, it's really weird, because I hear that I can, if we're talking about the patty one, most likely related scientifically, if we were to hypothesize, probably related to Gigantopithecus.
Yeah.
Or maybe even being an evolved version of Gigantopithecus. But if we're talking about like Bagugwi, for example, perhaps it could be related to a prehistoric baboon.
That makes sense.
We honestly really don't know.
I personally think that a couple of gorillas escaped and they learned how to bodybuild. Because you know how powerful gorillas are, right?
Oh, God.
We've never seen them at 100% power because they've never invented bodybuilding. So that's what I think Bigfoot is. They lifted some weights and were like, oh, I understand now. That's a joke.
I was hoping that was a joke.
I definitely think Bigfoot is like very prehistoric, because so you know how like early humans crossed over from like
The Great Land Bridge?
yeah, the Great Land Bridge. I think they probably came over during that, because you have the Yeti in Nepal, and so I think it makes sense to say like, oh, for looking at it like timeline wise, they probably came over during when that bridge was there, and just like humans, they got stuck because the land bridge got flooded away.
Fun fact, there are actually two types of Yeti. One that is said to roam in the higher altitudes actually is more fond of being on four legs than opposed to the Yetis that are closer to the summit, which are better off under 2 feet.
Yeah.
So that's something that I found when I was researching. I found it interesting. I thought I might bring it up.
Very. So there's that place in Nepal, right, where they stay. They have a Yeti skull or a scalp?
A Yeti scalp and a Yeti's hand. It's a monastery in the Himalayas. They haven't let anybody test it. They think of it as a very sacred artifact.
I feel bad for the Yeti who's out missing his scalp and his hand.
I would assume he's dead by now.
Nah, he's fine. He's wrapped. He's like a pirate.
What, he put a hook?
Yeah, he's got a. That'd be horrifying. A Yeti with a hook for a hand.
Now you may find this very disturbing, but there are reports of Bigfoots being able to handle weapons, like picking up an axe, stuff like that.
Okay, yeah, but if you give an ape an axe, they're gonna pick it up and kind of know how to use it too. So it's like, oh, I pick this up and this part seems to be sharp, so I hit thing with it and it bleed.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the early clubs pretty much the same thing, except club, not axe.
Okay, and
when you said weapons, I was like, oh shit, they know how to use a gun.
They don't know. I haven't heard or read a report of them using a firearm, but I've heard of them picking up firearms and bending the barrel.
What is this, a cartoon?
No, they know what. It's either they bend the barrel or they break the stock or they break something on it. These creatures very well know what a firearm is, and they know that it can bring harm to them.
How intelligent do you think the Bigfoot is? Because it seems to have a higher intelligence than like your normal ape, but like less than a human.
I want to say that it's close to a human, but not.
Like smarter than a dog, because a dog is pretty smart. Like it's able to be like, oh, I kind of know what this is, and Bigfoot's smarter than a dog. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I just think intelligence-wise, they are really close to humans.
Yeah.
Just not exactly at the same level. Maybe like 2 or 3 levels below us.
Yeah.
Because they know what cameras are. They know. Actually. I'm kind of in the middle between if they know what cameras are or if they think it's a type of gun.
That makes sense, because it's like, oh, because if you look at like a nature cam, that kind of looks like a gun. Like if I didn't know what it was, I'm like, what the fuck is that? It's like some sort of like.
Yeah, if you didn't know any better. Yeah. But they stay away from. I mean, if they're smart enough to be elusive for this long. They have to be smart.
Yeah.
There is no way they could hide their tracks or for this long and not be discovered.
There is one thing I want to say, which is very weird for me. Why do people use mating calls when they're trying to get Bigfoot?
Okay, so...
Because if there's one thing you don't want, is a horned up Bigfoot running after you and finding not a female Bigfoot, but tiny human. And you're like, well, I gotta rip you in half now. Rip.
I want to go ahead and say that I think the main the main proponent that, propelled the screaming or yelling, it came from the Sierra sounds that were picked up in the 1970s by a group of campers. They had heard reports of Bigfoot, or at least something that sounded off, and they decided, let's camp out, let's bring some really heavy radio equipment and try and pick this up.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, later that night, it was captured on the recordings.
Very interesting.
And ever since then, people have wondered, let's try and replicate this sound and put it, let's try and put it into use in other ways.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I wish I had you know what? Another tidbit. The place where they were camping wasn't a well-known place.
Yeah.
It was shown to them by a forest ranger, I believe, and they said, we're not going to tell anybody where this camp is because I forgot the reason for it.
You kind of want to keep it a secret that, yes, this isn't my private campsite.
Well, yeah, I think that's why, because they weren't given the opportunity to share it. So I think they're trying to keep it until they have the opportunity to say, okay, they gave us permission to save a campsite, we'll say it when we did.
Yeah.
No, it's weird, the whole screaming thing. Well,
I had a fear of Bigfoot when I was a kid, because whenever I went camping, I was like, oh shit, Bigfoot's gonna come in and just rip me apart limb from limb. But then I realized, like, wait, why would Bigfoot pick me? And I wasn't scared of Bigfoot anymore.
I mean, you survived cancer. I'm pretty sure you can survive a Bigfoot attack.
Yeah. Bigfoot's gonna bow down to me like, oh, chosen one.
Jokes aside, I also was really scared of Bigfoot when I was a kid. It's just the idea of something that big and scary in the woods, it just freaked me out. That's why I almost never wanted to go camping or do any of that outdoor stuff, because I'm like, no, I don't want to deal with it at all.
Yeah.
And recently, well, not recently, like maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I learned about the Dennis Martin case. And that really, that freaked me out. Have you heard of the Dennis Martin case?
No.
Okay. Sit back. This is going to be a good one.
Very excited. Hope you folks are ready to listen.
Okay. So I'm pretty sure they've heard it bit, or at least in passing. So basically, the Dennis Martin case was so to start it off, there was a family that went to a national park. They were just there, hanging out, and another family comes over, and they both have kids around the same age. So the family asks, hey, you know what, can our kids play together? And the dad's like, oh, all right, sure. And like, they start talking, and they bring up their name somehow. And here's a weird coincidence.
Wait, let me guess. Their last name was Foot, and their first name was Big.
No.
Oh.
Not at all. They both shared the last name of Martin.
Oh.
So, time goes by. It's getting it's getting late. So my dad's like, all right, well, I guess we'll go pack it up. He starts calling for his son, and he can't find his son anywhere.
Oh no!
And the other kid comes out, and he doesn't know where his son went, and he's like, oh no, what happened to my kid?
Yeah.
And I don't know how, but unfortunately, dad didn't know how long he was missing. So he later on that day he went to the forest ranger, to let him know, hey, my kid has gone missing. I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah.
So they launched an investigation looking for the kid. Like, they searched around the area. Meanwhile, this happened around maybe 2 hours after Dennis Martin's dad went ahead and found out that he was missing.
Yeah.
There was another family unrelated to the whole thing, about maybe like 13 or 15 miles away.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was quite a whiles away. Don't quote me on the exact mileage, but it was pretty far away. They saw something moving through the trees.
Yeah.
And they had basically it looked to them as if it were a bear.
Yeah.
They thought it was a bear, so they kept they were like, oh wait, that's a pretty weird looking bear, and they see something over its shoulder, as if it's carrying something.
Yeah.
They're like, what's it carrying? And in further interviews, the family would state that it looked like it was holding a child.
Oh.
And it's over its shoulder, and the it was hypothesized that whatever that was took Dennis Martin, and of course, they didn't think of anything. They're like, okay, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
They didn't think to alert the authorities as soon as they saw it. They alerted the authorities as they were leaving.
Oh, yeah.
So now with perhaps a bear with a child, the forest ranger didn't say anything to the dad. He was like, he kept the dad in the hush, like he didn't tell him anything that was happening. So what ended up happening is, for some unknown reason, they decided to, first off, they alerted the FBI agent, an FBI agent, for some reason, and later on, helicopters started showing up.
Whoa.
Yeah, helicopters started showing up around the area, and it was soon revealed that they had called the military. And here's the strange part: the military group that was present to try and help search for the kid, they were Green Berets.
Oh.
They weren't search and rescue. They weren't trained for rescue.
Yeah.
They were Green Berets. Green Berets are among the top best of our military,
Yeah.
They're right below Delta Force and SEAL Team 6. So they're pretty high up there. What I'm kind of concerned about, why would they bring in the Green Berets?
Yeah.
That's kind of sus to me, because you don't bring them out for just anything, That was kind of weird. And it's said, from the FBI agent, and this was later found out by a author and researcher and former police detective, David Paulides.
Yeah.
That the military was called in because there were reports of these quote-unquote wild men in the area. And previous to that, there was one that attacked a forest ranger. And after the attack, they let the FBI know that something fishy was there. So we were like, all right, if anything happens, we'll do something about it.
Yeah.
And then after the taking of the kid, that's when it's hypothesized they sent the Green Berets to exterminate whatever was in that forest.
Yeah.
But here's the kicker: the bear-like thing, through David Paulides, it was said to actually be a type 2 Bigfoot, which is the Neanderthal type Bigfoot, a more relic humanoid type of Bigfoot.
Yeah.
But it's still debated, and and this, mind you, happened in I think it was 1969. So this happened a long time ago, and they still haven't. After all that time, we never found any trace of Dennis Martin.
Damn, that's a sad story.
I think that's kind of weird. I mean, it still pertains to the whole Bigfoot thing because of what they think it was that took him. But yeah, it's a weird case. And as frightening as it is, some people like to believe that the missing 411 cases are attributed to cryptids, and one of the main cryptid culprits is Bigfoot. Now, I personally, I think that's kind of pushing it, because I don't think Bigfoot's responsible for every single missing case
Yeah.
in the forest, but I do think they or them, they're responsible for the for a certain percentage of that happening.
Yeah.
Whether that be you're trespassing on their territory, or maybe you got one on a wrong day, or you just pissed it off somehow. You know, what do you think? You think Bigfoot's, you know?
I mean,
it's a possible explanation for 411.
Yeah, I think it's definitely possible because, like you said, if the stone giant ones, if they do eat people, they eat the women and children.
Yeah.
Then I mean that makes sense. It'd be like yoink. But I don't know. The whole point of the Bigfoot is that it's a mystery. You don't know what they do, or like if they take people or why they take people. It's very. I hope one day we get like, whoa, there's a big piece of evidence. Just clearly like it's like the 2 left feet of a Bigfoot, and it's like, oh,
why the 2 left feet? Are you saying they're horrible dancers?
Yes.
All right.
Probably. I've never seen a Bigfoot dance.
I think that would take away all the tension of an encounter if you just saw one dancing.
Imagine you're deep in the woods, your phone is dead, and your car is gone. Out of the corner of your eye, you spot 2 Bigfoot dancing in a clearing. Would you be terrified? Yes or no? I would be like, holy shit.
Yeah, because maybe it could be like a Native American tribal dance, and we're dancing to for a sacrifice or something.
You get closer. No, they're
They found an iPod with WAP on it.
They're fucking beatboxing. They're hip hopping. They're breakdancing.
They're listening to Thanos' beatbox.
If you went into the woods and see anything breakdancing, that would be horrifying. Like they have, one of them has the boombox, so there's dancing on the cardboard mat.
See.
Would you tell anyone if you saw that?
It would be strange. What would be even weirder is how they got a hold of that stuff. Because nobody carries.
Listen, I know I sound crazy. I swear to God, I saw 2 Bigfoot breakdancing in the middle of the woods to WAP. I know it sounds crazy. Just trust me. No, I didn't take any photos of it.
As much as I actually had a bunch of things that I was going to mention, but I guess I'll just mention this now. So you know how everybody hates on people for not getting a clear photograph of Bigfoot, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that's a good reason to get that's a good point for people that say Bigfoot doesn't exist?
I think it's a big point of evidence because it's why have none of the photos ever been clear? It's always grainy or out of focus or slightly obscured, and it's we have supercomputers that are able to take incredible pictures of the moon just by themselves, yet every single one is blurry, and it's well, this doesn't. How can every single photo be blurry if it's real? Okay. I think that's a big point.
Okay, I want you to try this out, and maybe you too at home, folks. I want you to try and pull up your camera as fast as you can to try and take a picture of something and make it come out not blurry.
Okay, most phones have an autofocus though. You take it out, you tap the screen and it focuses, and you press it.
I want you to try it because I've tried it before. My phone's pretty damn new. There goes monetization.
You can say down.
It has it, and it still doesn't focus.
Well, that is a point. But have you considered that there's still super grainy videos of it, which is I don't understand.
Also, but most of the grainy videos, or should I put most of the well-known videos, happened before we had a supercomputer in our hands.
like still now, they're still like blurry.
You can't just enhance stuff over age.
They do in the TV shows. They go, enhance that 1 pixel and it comes up perfectly.
Okay, that is not how it works.
So they do it on the NYCBD. They go, enhance the photo, and you see the guy in the reflection of the victim.
No, that's purely fictional. I would think. But it's like if somebody people have tried enhancing the original Bigfoot video, and they can't get it any better to what it was.
I think the original Bigfoot video, the 71,
the
Patty one, I think that one's the most convincing, like the best Bigfoot video evidence ever, and that one's like hard to like. Well, it's not hard to dispute, but it's harder than like the rest of them because it's like, oh, that's just a guy in like a suit walking around, or it's like, oh, that's just like really bad like CG or something like that. But that one, the way I see it, they had no idea what the Bigfoot was at that point, and it was like, oh shit, we got this thing fucking walking, take a video of it, man, so we can know what it was. But after that, everyone's like, giant monkey in the forest, I can make money out of this, and they started faking videos after that.
Okay, so here's a little. So this happened recently. By happened, I mean the topic was brought up recently in cryptozoology. You probably don't know this. Honestly, I don't think you know this at all. But
probably
because so basically, some guy claiming to be a part of the team with Patterson and with Bob Patterson and God, what's his name? With Patterson and Gimlin, he said that prior to the events of the video being shot, that there was a massacre that occurred prior to a video.
What the? And
that Patterson and Gimlin were a part of a team that went out to go kill Bigfoots, and this was they had massacred most of the Bigfoots, and the one that walked away was the one that they captured on camera.
Oh.
And supposedly the evidence behind this is that people were playing with the saturation of the Patty film, and they were playing around with stuff basically on an editing software, and they saw supposedly blood on the ground and like stuff like that. And personally, I don't believe that to be true, but what do you think?
I mean,
that's like out there, isn't it? That's like really,
pretty. It's like, oh, we're the Bigfoot killers,
right? I think it's pretty stupid because
if it was bleeding, it's probably because it got caught on like bramble or something.
No. But Bigfoot itself isn't bleeding.
It just had blood on it.
No. Oh, I don't remember if it had blood on it per se, but it had but the ground that it was, the path that it was walking on had blood on it.
Wasn't it rocks it was walking on?
It was a mixture of sand and rocks, like
a river, like
a riverbed.
Yeah.
Sort of. Yeah. It's a weird thing that actually divided the cryptozoology field for a while, because they're like, this could possibly be real, and I'm like, I don't think it would, because going out to kill a whole family of bees ethically it doesn't seem right. But
yeah,
I know there are people that would try and do it, you know?
I mean, there's people who kill elephants.
Yeah. I told you about the bill that we released in Oklahoma, right?
Yeah, you can legally hunt a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
I think that's also in Texas as well. Like, Texas is Bigfoot is an invasive species in Texas.
No, Bigfoot's an invasive species in Oregon or Washington.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought they were endangered there.
Oh.
Yeah, I think they're endangered in the Northwest, and they're invasive, like down here to like Texas and New Mexico and stuff.
Okay, so quite possibly.
A goddamn Bigfoot stealing my goddamn crops.
Okay, you're not wrong about that. There are reports of Bigfoots stealing, like farm animals or, crops.
Yoink.
Most notably, there's a case from Oklahoma, which is probably why they're allowing Bigfoots to be hunted.
Yeah.
It was a case called Besiege of Honobia.
Whoa, that's a cool name.
Yeah, so basically the gist is there were hunters. There was a family of hunters, and they would go hunt every once in a while. And so you know how when you're a hunter you gotta gut stuff and you gotta hang the meat to dry and stuff. Somewhere along the lines of them living on the property, they would hang the stuff outside, as a normal person would, because I don't think that would be a very nice interior decoration.
Yeah.
But the hunts that they would go on, pretty soon after they brought the deer home or whatever they were hunting, they put it outside, do what they usually did. Next day, it would be missing. A whole deer would be missing, and they're like, "Oh, that's not cool." So they wised up and they started putting things inside the freezer.
Yeah.
Inside of an actual freezer outside, and apparently it looked as if something were like messing with the lock, like if it grabbed a rock and it was just smashing on the padlock.
Yeah.
And they were like, you know what? Out of spite, we're not gonna hunt anymore. So we stopped hunting for a while. Apparently, the Bigfoots didn't like that they stopped hunting.
No, keep hunting.
Because if you think about it, it was
They threw a rock through the window with like a tag on it, but when we said, "Oh, Margaret, look at this! There's a hog on it. There's a Bigfoot for hunt more."
Basically they were harassed by the Bigfoot family for a while. And the thing is,
I imagine like the Bigfoots are like bullying, like, "Go hunt more, nerd, huh? Like, stop pushing me."
And the thing is, the Bigfoots had gotten accustomed to the gunshots. So every time they would hear a gunshot, they would associate it with food instead of being scared of it.
Oh, like was it like Pavloving? Or like where you do a thing and like associate with a good thing, right?
Yeah.
What do they call him? Pavlov?
I don't know what it's called.
Pavlov.
Let us know in the comments below.
Yes. And also like and subscribe and share.
Please.
For
we mean it.
Please.
It's basically they stopped. So after a while, they did stop hunting, and Bigfoots, of course, didn't like it, but they stopped for long enough that the Bigfoots left.
Oh, very interesting.
I think that's how it goes.
When was this?
This is more recent, like in the 2000s.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. It happened more recently.
There's one thing I need to say. Why? Okay, so like they always have like the trail cams, right? And they always take like photos or like really like crappy videos where it's like 2 frames like per second instead of like a full video. Why do they do that instead of just having like an actual like camera like record?
Memory.
Oh. Well, have it upload to like the cloud or something.
Really? You think there's going to be a Wi-Fi out in the freaking middle of
Maybe.
woods?
I don't know. Look, what they should do is have it so it's kind of, have it like a case for your phone, but you like tape it to a tree and it records. Because it's smaller, so like I don't think a lot of things you're going to notice it more. But it's got more storage to like record.
I don't... Okay, this is totally gonna jump off the topic of physical Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And more into the interdimensional theory of Bigfoot.
The one I think is the funniest.
That the reason why they don't show up so good on cameras and video is because they have a certain electronic interference with them that comes along with them, and that's what kind of screws around with the cameras or the video capture. Yeah. Another weird thing that I like to point out, even though it's only found in ethereal Bigfoots, which are the interdimensional ones, and the physical Bigfoots, is that surprisingly they have infrasound. Like
a bat, right?
No, that's echolocation.
What's infrasound?
Infrasound. Tigers have it. So basically, their roar basically disrupts, mentally disrupts. It's
it just melts the brain.
No, it causes some sort of reaction in their prey.
Fear,
like lightheadedness, dizziness, the feeling of wanting to throw up, stuff like that. Like it causes health problems.
Oh, okay.
And it basically, it shoots out this sound, and it causes its prey to be immobilized to some extent. And it's said that Bigfoots could quite possibly have infrasound.
That's interesting. I mean, the
largest mammal to have infrasound is, I think it is an elephant. I think it's the elephant.
Elephants are cool.
And if something of that size can have it, I'm pretty sure a Bigfoot
why
can have it.
Elephants don't eat meat? Why would they have? Is it just scare the things away?
Quite possibly.
Okay, that makes sense. They gotta freeze the plant so it doesn't move.
Yeah, no, that's a weird little tidbit that a lot of people report experiencing when they encounter a Bigfoot.
That's very okay. I might be remembering this wrong. Was there not a story about a group of hikers or explorers or something in Yeti territory, and they got ripped apart and none of them survived or something like that? Because I remember seeing a YouTube video talking about how they found this campsite completely destroyed and none of them survived.
You hear that? That was silence.
Yeah, I know.
You know why? Because that's so vague. There are so many reports of something like that happening.
Okay, I was a group of teenagers, and oh my god, it's some time, then they were going out to Mount Everest or some mountain area, and some Bigfoot or Yeti got pissed off and just killed all of them, and there was body parts all over the camp and stuff, and I don't remember anything about that story except that it was extremely brutal, and the cops, it's a cold case, because I want that Bigfoot found and I want him tried and I want him in jail, because no, you can't legally say Bigfoot killed him. It has to be a cold case, quote unquote,
or a wild animal tech.
Yeah, but they're footprints of the Bigfoot or Yeti.
The only one that's coming to mind right now is the Alatov Pass incident.
That sounds familiar. It might be it.
A group of hikers went missing. Well, they went missing for a while, but their bodies were found. They had most of them had actually separated during the trip because of for various reasons. Most notably, one was found without their tongue. It had been ripped out.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
See, the only evidence of that being a Bigfoot, if any, which is very implausible because of the way the report is, the only possible factor that proves that it could possibly be from a Bigfoot is the one photograph that they took.
Yes.
That's the only piece of evidence that claims it could be a Bigfoot, because when the camp, you mentioned the camp being destroyed, it wasn't torn from the outside, it was torn from the inside.
Yeah.
Meaning they had wanted to escape for some reason out into the cold. Most likely because they were experiencing delusional hyperthermia.
Yeah.
I highly doubt that it was Bigfoot, but it very well could have been a Bigfoot. There's not enough evidence to say, yeah, it was, or no, it wasn't.
But that was the exact story for Tom. So what was it? The something pass?
Dilatov
Pass. Double top pass.
No, Dilatov. Dytov.
Dilatov.
Pass.
Dilatov.
It would have been better if they had AK-47.
Indeed.
Or Dragunov. Sega 12. Yes.
Bigfoot knows.
Okay, enough of a stereotype. Yeah, no, that's... the other theories on that case were, of course, hyperthermia being a huge factor. Some even claim aliens.
Oh, yeah, the theory I think is the most stupid. I'm just going to say it bluntly. Because it's always like, oh, when Bigfoot appears, there's always like a flash of light. And like there's like lights above him. There's always alien activity near him.
Okay, you're gonna hate me.
I already hate you.
That hurts. But people that with the reports that I've read or heard, most of the time Bigfoot encounters either after or before, sometimes even during, there are reports of lights. Not from the sky, but like glowing orbs around the area where the Bigfoot's seen.
Yeah.
And this is something that has always puzzled me, like, why is there glowing orbs around him? This could possibly be... I don't think it has to do anything with the physical animal. I think it could be either one of two things, being the ethereal Bigfoot or the spiritual Bigfoot.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think it has anything to do with a physical animal. Because personally, I believe there are these 3 different types of Bigfoot.
Really?
And they're all... Yeah, I personally, I believe that each one of these are a possibility and they could possibly exist, you know? Like, maybe there's a type of Bigfoot that is native to North America. And the other types of Bigfoots that people are seeing, maybe they are interdimensional, or maybe they are from a more spiritual aspect. I think that all 3 different types are plausible, and I don't rule them out completely unless they're like totally crazy, like having intimacies with a Bigfoot. those allegedly occur. That or having intimacies with a dog.
There's a video of this guy, and he's talking about how like this Bigfoot like whacked him off, and he's like, yeah, so I was sitting here, and then all of a sudden this Bigfoot comes out, and I'm like, ah, shit, I'm gonna die. And so he takes my pants and starts giving me a knobber, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, like that. Those types of encounters, I'm like, no, dude, I know. I don't think that's real. Like, why?
Show me proof.
Well, if you see here, it's all bruised and battered.
Ooh. Ugh. I actually have a sample right here. I kept in this jar.
Did you post that on Reddit?
No.
Yeah, no, it's... Well, what do you think, Colton? What's your take on the Bigfoot thing?
I hope it's real, because I think that'd be very interesting.
Not what I meant.
Oh, what did you mean?
I meant like physical, spiritual, interdimensional.
Okay. Well, I don't really know, because I hope that the physical one's real. I'm not really sure about the whole like ethereal ghost Bigfoot and like the whole like. I definitely don't believe in alien Bigfoot. I think that one's too out there.
Alien Bigfoot?
Yeah. Bigfoot's an alien. You ever heard of that theory?
You're looking at me like I haven't.
Alright. Calm down.
I've heard of it, not a fan of it.
Yeah. No.
But I don't rule it out. Unlike you, I don't rule it out.
I rule it out.
See, this is why you don't handle interviews.
Yeah. Listen, when we have our alien episode, we're going to have some real, like, doozies with our 1-2 talking. Because, aliens, I've had some nightmares when I was a kid.
We're not talking about aliens. We're talking about Bigfoot here.
You're right. Well, okay. I hope Bigfoot's real, the physical one, because that opens a door to a lot of like evolution discussions and like how did it get here. And I think Bigfoot would be a great find for the scientific community. I would think, because it's like, oh shit, what the fuck? Because like imagine if they found a real Bigfoot, like. Let's say they found the body of one. That would...
Not gonna happen.
Why? They eat them?
No.
Okay.
The government's gonna confiscate it before anything happens.
Okay, well let's say that they're live streaming it. And they...
Highly doubt.
They can't do anything about it because the government's like, well, fuck, let get it released. And the whole world knows that Bigfoot is real. I would not... I would imagine how crazy it would be trying to place him into like the evolutionary, or no, what is it, like the family tree, where it's like the branches and stuff, and it's like the different species and stuff. I think that would be really interesting to be like, oh shit, this is like closer related to us than like anything else in the current world. I think that'd be interesting, and that's why I hope it's real.
You know, personally, I think finding out Bigfoot, if Bigfoot were to become if it was acknowledged as an actual animal, it would totally destroy us. Not the actual creature, I mean, it's more like the knowledge of it being out there. Because one, it's gonna make people go sort of crazy because they're like, wait, this thing was real. They're gonna start questioning, evolution. They're gonna start questioning their own beliefs.
People do that anyways.
But it's gonna be at a more expansive level.
Okay.
Not only that, but it's gonna affect the way our government works. Our logging industry is going to go down. National parks are going to lose.
I don't think that would happen at all. In fact,
so you're saying that
I think the complete opposite. Well, maybe the logging industry. That one would probably make the most sense. But I think if North America Bigfoot got confirmed, the fucking tourism rates for national parks would go absolutely insane. But I do think they would have to have some sort of waiver where it's like, death by Bigfoot cannot sue us or something like that.
The way you put it was so nonsensical. I can't even. I literally can't even.
I literally can't.
No, so you'd be willing to take your family to a national park knowing that there could be an 8-foot monster that could rip you to shreds?
What, a bear? A Bigfoot has... I would be much more worried about a bear than Bigfoot, to be honest. Because even if we found it, it's taken us for like 50 years to even find one body or like one like conclusive evidence to prove that it's real. I would not be worried about running into one. I'd be more worried about bears. I think knowing that it's out there is like, oh, that's very interesting. People want to go look for it more, but I don't think it would be like, Bigfoot's burning my crops down all of a sudden. Bigfoot pet my dog once. Fucking asshole. Nothing would happen if Bigfoot got... Well, not nothing, but it's not like what you're saying.
See, this is why you give me a headache sometimes. But it's good because it expands, it proves the differences in our trains of thought.
Yes.
Which is good because at least we don't have two crazy people on this podcast.
So far.
Why? We're not bringing him.
Listen, man. We can bring Bigfoot onto the podcast.
Oh, God.
I have my contacts. It'll be fine, alright? So, Bigfoot, what do you think of today's politics? And there's like 50 minutes of us being ripped apart.
All caught on audio.
Somehow he uploads it.
Doesn't even put a title. It's just blank.
It's like, me Bigfoot were people apart.
ASMR. Okay. Anything else you wanna bring up on this topic for now? Because I'm pretty sure we'll come back to it at a later date.
If the Yeti got confirmed real, I would be more terrified, to be honest.
It's basically just.
It's an angrier Bigfoot, if I'm being honest. He's roided up on all the dead bodies in Mount Everest. He's got really good camouflage. The only thing...
folks, it's been a nice time here at Cryptid Paranormal Committee Podcast. Thanks for joining us on this episode. We're gonna try and little update. We're gonna have a couple researchers come on the show.
It's gonna be very fun.
Very fun. Hopefully, Colton learns to keep his big mouth shut.
Spoiler alert: I won't.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be a fun time. Thank you guys for listening. Colton.
I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and I hope you don't run into a Bigfoot.
We've been the Cryptid Paranormal Committee.
See you later.